Hey guys, welcome to Psych video number 1. This is our first review video that we're going to look at as getting ready for the test. Remember, on the test you want to get everything correct. So you want to remember question, hypothesis, experiment, results, and come up with a conclusion. Alright? Again, pointer options. Let's go pen here. Question, hypothesis, experiment. I would say these two are the results. Then from that analyzation, you're going to come up with a conclusion. Then you're going to come up with thesis. QHERCT. QHERCT. That is definitely the cheat code for that part of the test. All right. Some vocabulary words we haven't spent a lot of time on. Hindsight bias is the tendency to believe after learning the outcome you knew it all along. Only after Curry won the IR primary do people say that Dean was too liberal. Think about that when we see movies. People always act like, oh, I knew what was going to happen. Overconfidence is the idea that scientists and people tend to think we know more than we do. 82% of U.S. drivers consider themselves to be in the top 30% of drivers in their groups in terms of safety. 81% of new business owners felt like they had an excellent chance of succeeding. When asked about the success of their peers, they said only 39% of success rate. So again, overconfidence. Alright, one of the other things on the test are ways we can do research. One of the ways we can do is the case study. And what we see in this case study is where one situation or person is observed in depth. So think about what are some of the strengths, and this is definitely going to be a part of the test, the strengths and weaknesses of all of the different approaches we discuss in class. You get the survey method, using both descriptional and correlational research. You can do it on the mail, phone, internet. It's good, it's cheap, it's anonymous. But then what we really need to think about, what's bad about that, and we'll talk about that in class. Alright? So that's another way you can do research. Correlational research detects the relationship between variables. If I eat ice cream, I'm happy. If I see that, I'm scared. Okay? There is a positive correlation between ice cream and murder rates. Does that mean ice cream causes murder? No. Alright? Does not say that one variable causes the other. Measuring using a correlation coefficient, a statistical measure of the extent to which the two factors relate to one another. And you can have a range from +1 to -1. Here you see perfect positive correlation. Those two variables, the more ice cream, the happier I get. The more Krispy Kremes, the happier I get. A negative correlation is I don't know. Here, let's see. The more homework you get assigned. Right, so if this is the highest, that would be the lowest. The more homework you get is the less free time you have. So if you get no homework, you've got a ton of free time. Alright? Just remember, positive correlation is +1, negative correlation is -1. Alright? Increases in one measure are matched by the increases in another measure. The more ice cream equals the more happy. Negative correlation is, again, the more homework equals a negative amount of free time. Experimental research, we're looking there for cause and effect relationship. Eating too many bananas could cause, sadly, constipation. Analyze results, use measures of central tendency, mean, median, and mode. To be honest with you, we're not going to do a whole lot on the statistics. The only real statistic question we'll have is about positive and negative correlation. Naturalistic observation, you observe, record behavior in the natural environment. There's really no control here. It's just you as an observer, and you probably should have this guy having a notebook. No, you're not being this creepy. And again, positive, negatives. Observer effect, changes in a subject's behavior This is important. Observer effect. Once you know you're being watched, you're going to change how you behave. Observer bias. You only notice what you want to see, or you basically only write down the things you expect to see. This one's really interesting, is the idea that cats, animals, anything that's not a human being has human feelings. Anya, my cat, is acting like that because she's feeling depressed. Well, animals don't really have human feelings. Correlation, again, we've talked about this. Systematic relations between two measures available. We did this. -1 is negative, +1 is positive. 0 means no relationship. This is important. Correlation does not mean it causes. Alright? Just means that they occur at the same time. Next, case study. In-depth focus of all aspects of a single subject. You get the natural clinical test, natural events such as accidents that provide psychological data. We've talked about the survey. It's important that you get a representative sample. There's also this idea of a courtesy bias, that people, when they're taking a survey, will give the answers that they think are polite. You can't do a survey on racism. You can't do a section on almost any of the isms, because people are going to give the answer they think they're supposed to give. Nobody's going to say, yes, I'm a flaming racist. Nobody's going to say, yes, I'm a flaming sexist. People are going to give the polite or socially desirable answer. I would pause this here and copy down some of this. I think is really good. I will tell you, we will have closer to 9 of these methods, but here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the bigger ones. All right? Again, we've done this time and time again. Single blind, double blind. And notice double blind are considered the best if they're done right. Placebo, we talked about that. Good. Groups, experimental group, definitely going to be on the test. Control group. And the idea here is everybody who signs up for the experiment has the same chance, and then basically random, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Independent variables, you're going to get sick of this. These are the conditions altered by the experimenter. These are the things I know. Alright? The I is important. The D is the don't know, the dependent variable. Alright? Extraneous variables, conditions that a researcher wants to prevent from affecting the outcome of the experiment. Anything from numbers of hours slept to the temperature of the day, things like that. A couple things that can happen if you're running an experiment. Again, the impact of the experimenter. There's this thing called self-fulfilling prophecy, that if you act a certain way and act like something's going to happen, it usually does. This one is interesting. The Hawthorne effect is simply the idea that the patients will behave in the way that they think you want them to. It's almost the next level self-fulfilling effect. So if the patients think you want them to lose weight, they will try to lose weight because they think one of the base human instinct is to please other human beings. The last part of the test will be the ethics. Accurately report results, minimize subject discomfort, and prevent any long-term negative effects. I would suggest you want to also talk about the C's. You want to talk about informed consent, and you want to talk about confidentiality. Alright guys, that's the end of video number 1. What do you have to do now? What do you have to do now? Well, that's a tricky question. You're going to make a list of 10 things you learned from the video. You can submit it on pen and paper, or submit it on Edmodo, or do this Google Doc. I don't think if you click here, this link will work. I'll provide it to you in class. Have a good day. Bye now.